I like this question that we got around developer workflow, and that you normally would want to work with your data platform and then go to DBT, and then that seems like a lot of work. You need to like rewrite everything into ref and those kind of things. And what I was saying is, in reality, when you're working in a production DBT environment, DBT project, you don't really need to be jumping in between windows from your data platform to your DBT environment, whatever that looks like, whatever that is, because it is much easier to always stay within your DBT environment. And I was thinking that much easier also that me reading that and explaining why it would be to show you how. As you can see, I have the DBT Cloud IDE here. And I want to clarify that I'm using this because it's much easier for me to show it. But in reality, this is also something that you can set up in the IDE of your choice. So me, for example, in my VS Code, I also have it set up with an extension where I can query directly the data platform that I use the most. And I can even see database schema, for example. And I know that most data platforms have some kind of VS Code extension, for example, so you can find those ways to do that. You obviously can save things as DBT models or DBT analysis, and like potentially you can even do it from there, and you could do DBT show to see that. But ideally, you set up something like an extension that allows you to see the database. So as you know, like here's my IDE, and then the first thing that I'm going to note is it is much easier for me to start analysis. Let's move this. It is much easier for me to start an analysis from here than from my data platform. And the reason for that is because here we have documentation, but then we also mainly have the lineage, right? Like this is what I care about. So if I go here and I just go to the lineage, then we can open this for my whole project. I can navigate my whole project, right? And it is much easier for me to go and find where my analysis has to start from. If I go to the documentation, and disclaimer, you're not seeing the Explorer in the course, and the reason for that is because this is newer and this is paid. Like it's part of another plan, so but we see DBT docs, but so kind of like experience applies. I can see, let's say I need to figure out something, an analysis on customers, so I can go and find and see what folders do I have, what kind of, like maybe I'm looking for a source or something like that, and I can navigate from here, right? So like customer flags, for example, I could see the code if I wanted to go to the platform, like the data platform. And from here, I can go to the IDE and say, yes, I'm going to be working on this or from this or whatever. So first thing, it makes it much easier to go and narrow down where do I have to work versus being in the data platform. Now, the part of the analysis itself, again, from here, I can query my whole data platform, right? Like I need to have access to it, but I can really do select from, I could do a ref, or I could obviously do customer flags. And then I could preview from here, and then I could decide what do I want to do? Like, do I want to kind of like visualize how the data looks like or the structure or whatever? Yeah, so from here, just kind of flow. Okay, so like, yeah, I could do whatever things from here. So let's say we do, we do whatever like this. Again, I can keep previewing. I can like navigate the whole data from my view here. So I don't really need to go to the data platform. Now, there's a thing that you may say. What I'm doing here is going into, let's compile this. It's going into my development schema because I'm in development, right? And that's correct. And that's something that normally when you're doing some kind of analysis, you may really want to go to your production schema and use your production data. You may not have the latest in your development schema. You may have a depth limit, any kind of things. Now, this is where, first of all, if I were doing this, right, obviously I could do this from here and do, I think my It's called prod, like this. So I could do this. Let's imagine that's the correct name. And but what I could also do is, let's say I have a model, I save this as a model. I could use defer state. Like this is, I had it on. So this is, if I have it like this is going to work just like we learned. This is going to materialize in your developer schema, and all of this is going to go into, it's going to select from your personal schema as well. But if I were to do defer instead, and I'm going to show you from here. So if I were to do dbt-run minus dim suppliers minus favor state, and I'm going to run this. And what it's really going to do is this part, let's leave that running. This is still going to materialize in your personal schema. This is going to be selecting from production. So when I compile this code, instead of saying my name, it's going to go and say, so create it here, and here it's going to select from production. So again, third thing, why I don't need to go to the platform. I could have both things. I could go to production, and I don't need to know how or where is this materializing production, because dbt is referencing this to my production environment, right? This last part in dbt core, it's a little bit harder, just because you need to have available a manifest. So not saying it's impossible, just saying that you need to figure out, like, you need to have available the manifest from your production run in order to be able to do this deferral. But yeah, other than that, this is normally the developer workflow. And as I was saying, in VS Code, you can replicate this this workflow with some more work from setting it up. But this is ideally how you would work in your DBT project. I hope it was helpful. It was longer than what I expected, but yeah, hope it was helpful.